All right, so this is a POC I worked on a long time ago, and I never managed to make a game out of it or anything, and I never even had a good game idea. It was a board game that I had sitting around here, and I can't remember the name, which is a shame, because it was so long ago. And I just loved the mechanics, so I wanted to play around with it in Godot, see if I can get it done, and I did pretty good here. You can see all of the raycast lines are giving me all the potential connection points for a south-facing connection to all the north-facing connections, and you can see even the east is able to connect to the west. If I get close enough, it'll allow that connection. Works pretty good, pretty happy with it. You can rotate, we can zoom once I don't have a tile connected, and we can do a little bit of panning. So it's not perfect by any means. Again, it was just a quick and dirty POC, but I did clean up the code a little bit just to publish it on itch.io. One of the things you would need to do is figure out your artwork to get it aligned and connecting the way you need it to connect. I didn't spend a lot of time on it because I knew that it really comes down to the game that you're making and what style of connections you're going to want. Whether you want one big piece here, like I think we can probably see an example of that maybe somewhere. No, I don't know if I like right here. So it really comes down to your artwork, and then there's no rules here that prevent overlap in odd ways. So you need to figure that out whether you're going to use like this right here. So you would need to figure out maybe some area 2D overlapping checks, that kind of thing, or make sure your artwork or pieces can't physically do that. It's not allowed. So again, it really depends on the game that you're making and what you want to have done there. But that is an opportunity that needs to be looked at. Let's see. Yeah, so you can snap from really far away. It's kind of fun. Okay, so let's look at the code really quick so you can get an idea of how this is working. So collapse a little bit this. So here's the project structure. Then we have the scenes. My mic is right in the way, so I can't see. I have to look around it. It's dumb because I have to have the stupid thing jammed in my mouth so you can hear me. All right. So we have here's a tile. Here's the scene. We'll collapse it at first. We have the collision shape, which is used to block the raycast, which is kind of how we prevent it from going through most of the time. And then we have our sprite, which looks like that right there. And then we have our connector container, which contains the connections. So if I put this out here, we're going to see that it will now connect there. If I can find one here randomly, there we go. And it will just work. So it makes it pretty flexible, so you can add all sorts of crazy tiles, and then just when you come in here, you can just fine tune. If I want it over here, or on the corners, you can do that. Pretty neat. But it does, for every tile you make, you're gonna need to come in here and create those, and you can create as many of those as you want. So I can do this. But then you would probably need to account for whether this is now a southwestern node connection, which we don't really support. So this would just act as a south-facing connection, that kind of thing. So undoing that. And then we have our line connectors, so each one can draw a line out to some node it can connect to. So I've got 3 different tile examples, and then they all share, they all grab from this tile class, so almost all the code is here. And if you look at one of these, there's almost nothing going on. They're just providing references to the tile class. So a lot of probably refactoring in here. Like I probably have way too much going on in these tile classes. Like I'm drawing the lines and things in here, so that probably should be moved out. Things like that. But overall, it's pretty clean. A few comments here and there. Let's see, we have our line, we have our connector nodes. Probably not a lot going on in here, just basically for positioning. And those are our scenes. And then we have our camera for the panning and the zooming. A few globals, not a lot, just a couple signals being used. Got some enums, and if you haven't used enums in Godot, highly recommend it. Super, super beneficial. Maintaining your code and keeping it clean. Let's see, then in the game class, not a lot going on. Yeah, nothing I can even think of to say there. It's very simple. Exports, that shouldn't be in there. Can I ignore that? I forget how to ignore that. I'm going to have to look at that. This is just for me publishing it, so that's not going to be there. And then the assets, just a few. The 3 tiles and then the connector, that's it. So that is what will be up on itch.io. And hope you find it interesting and useful. Cheers, bye.